All right. Looks like some people are filtering in. I'll wait a couple of minutes. Has anyone finished? Well, I see Graham's here, so I already know the answer, but who has finished their roadmap already? Anybody? Let me know in the chat if you have finished it. Assuming you're willing to chat. Do we have any chatty folks? Maybe no chatty folks. Well, while I'm waiting for you all to perk up, I guess we're kind of in the post-lunch hour, to be fair. Eric has not. Thank you, Eric, for your honesty. Okay. Hello, Rachel. Thanks for coming. Let me grab my presentation, which is pretty straightforward. I wonder if any of you can guess what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about finishing your roadmap. So to do that, I just need Canva. Any big surprises over the last 4 days? Like, have you changed your mind about anything? I think it would be a pity to go through an experience like this and not change your mind. Maybe that's just me. Okay. Let me get over to my slide. I wonder if it's actually going to let me use my notes this time. Presenter notes. Changed my mind on email outreach. Cool, Graham. Yeah, it gets a bad rap, but it can work. I've used it for all sorts of things, everything from getting sponsors for this summit to clients. Eric, I have much more hope now. Well, that's awesome. Okay, so I think I'll probably just start. Other people may join us. That's fine. That's their prerogative. But let me start by sharing. All right. Now, can you all see this title slide? I haven't switched into presenter mode yet, but let me know if you can see the title slide. Finish your one-page growth roadmap. Awesome. Eric says yes. Now, I'm wondering if I can. All right, we'll see if this works. All right, is my title slide now showing my full screen? Sorry, this is super awkward. My assistant is in a different time zone, so I have to rely on you to be my crutch. You know what? I'll just go with it. All right. So it says audience window. Great. You know what? Let me go back. Let me just switch into presenter mode. And tell you what, I'm going to make Eric, I'm going to make you a co-presenter. So just in case I screw up, there's someone out there in the audience who can actually come off mute and tell me that you can't see crap. That's like my worst fear when it comes to this stuff is like, I won't know that I'm not actually showing the slides. Dorothy, I'll make you a co-host as well. All right. So I'm gonna hop back over to Canva, just go through my slides, and we'll make the best of it. All right. So someone just came off mute. Maybe Eric, maybe Dorothy. Just make sure you mute yourself unless you see me screwing up royally. Okay. So here we are. This is the final session. And the goal of this session is for you to finish your roadmap, actually translate insights and ideas into a plan that you can implement. Now, I said in my opening session that I think the way to grow faster is to subtract, have fewer priorities, try to identify fewer tasks before you get started. Get started without knowing every task, right? So that is my assumption going into the creation of your one-page growth roadmap. 3 priorities, 5 one-hour tasks for each. You're not trying to do everything. You're trying to narrow your focus. Now, again, I know I'm repeating slides from my first session. This growth by subtraction principle shows up everywhere if you know to look for it. So, this is just one example from Caitlin. Her business reached an inflection point when she started doing less but better. That's what I want for you too. Narrowing your focus, simplifying your business if you can, fewer priorities. Jim Collins said something similar in his classic, Good to Great. He noticed that companies that sustained high performance across decades were the ones that had fewer priorities, 3 or less. Now, most of us work mostly solo. We don't have these big teams. Yet, I think the same thing still holds true. If you have fewer priorities, you will find it easier to focus. If you find it easier to focus, you will finish more. If you finish more, you will feel more momentum, see more momentum, more change will happen, more growth will happen. So there's a direct correlation between fewer priorities and focus and growth. Growth by subtraction. And now we'll point out again that there's a difference between a project and a task. I define a task as something that you can finish in 1 hour or less. So it's very important to this overall process that you take your bigger objectives and just identify the very next 1 hour task, and then the one that comes after that, and then the one that comes after that. Projects that are a part of objectives, like, hey, I need to redo my website or I need to rebuild my pipeline, that may include projects, but even those projects will consist of 1 hour tasks. Maybe they are only 30-minute tasks. Either way, every project you accomplish through discrete tasks that you can time bind, that are time bound. And that's great because you can schedule a 1 hour task in a way that you cannot schedule a project. So you saw this in the opening session. I think pre AI, I think when things were a little bit easier in 2021, because it seemed like everybody was freelancing, maybe it was more possible. I don't even think that's true. I think this old way has always been the worst way, but it's what I've seen in a lot of freelancers: overcommitment, procrastination, overthinking, complexity, confusion, vagueness, especially related to their own business development. What do I think works better? The short, focused, actionable plan you're about to create, scheduling business development time, putting it in your calendar, treating your business as your best client, shrinking priorities, as I've already mentioned, narrowing it down to three, getting clear on what you want next, not forever, not in 3 years or 5 years or 10 years. What do you want next? Cut or ignore everything that's not in your roadmap right now. Shrink tasks until they can fit inside of 1 hour. So I do want to point this out, and then we're going to get into the actual steps. I'll start setting timers, you'll get to work. But a lot of us actually bring in a kind of scar tissue to a plan because you may have created a plan in the past that you did not implement. I do think it's helpful to ask ourselves, well, what stopped me from fully implementing my last plan? And let's clear the air around that before you create a new plan. You may need to get back into integrity with yourself. Hopefully that makes sense. You may need to remind yourself that you can follow through with your commitments to yourself. So let me just explain very quickly what stops us from fully implementing our plans. The main culprit is overcommitment. We just take on too much. And then taking on too much creates complexity. There's just so much happening, so many moving plates, so many different things clamoring for our attention. And that complexity creates confusion. What should I work on now? Confusion and indecision. Should I work on my website or my LinkedIn profile? Okay, I thought I was going to do some podcast guesting and some cold email outreach. What should I do right now? Overcommitment leads to that confusion and indecision. And then we spin our wheels, and that's frustrating. Or we get distracted, like complexity can feel like this wall that we're looking at, this impossible wall that we must scale. And then it's pretty easy for our brains to go squirrel, like we get distracted. Then we don't feel progress. And that lack of felt progress causes resignation. Ugh. And you feel like, well, you've spent so much time not executing a plan. Maybe you should just discard the plan entirely. Now, obviously, perfectionism comes into play here too. Trying to have everything just right about the website before you launch it, fussing over little details in your LinkedIn about or summary, as opposed to just publishing a new about section today, agonizing over every last word in a cold outreach email instead of sending it today. You get what I'm saying. These are the things that contribute, that work together to keeping us stuck, not implementing a plan, not seeing the results, not getting the growth we want. So, my solution to this personally has been create simpler plans, create plans with less in them. And a lot of these challenges or saboteurs go away if I just create plans with less in them. And maybe that's overly simplistic, but it has helped me. So let's create your one-page growth roadmap. If you lost track of the template or you weren't a part of the opening session, then you can follow this link or scan the QR code. And if someone would be willing to volunteer, go ahead and just paste the link into the chat to help everybody else. All right. Give you a couple seconds to grab that link and we'll keep going. So here's what we're going to cover. It's all pretty straightforward. It's going to be relatively easy and it's fun. Like, this is the work. This is what getting better feels like. Okay. Number one, gather your ideas. By the way, I am going to set a timer here in a second, and I'm going to try to give you enough time. But gather ideas. There are a lot of ideas sloshing around in your mind right now. That's what happens if you listen to really smart people who are also articulate, share what has worked for them. And if you're not careful, you think you need to build this elaborate business when maybe you need to ignore 95% of what you've just learned. So I would recommend that you just start by reviewing and gathering your best ideas. So I really am going to set a timer. I'll stay on top of it, and then we'll go from there. Look at your notes and decide what's most important right now. Okay, 10 minutes, doing it the old fashioned way, starting now. And I'm going to put myself on mute. Can you all still hear me okay? I had to switch to a different mic. Someone let me know if you can hear me okay. Perfect. Oh, good. And this is better. Great. All right, we've got about 5 minutes left on this step. And yeah, drop in the chat one idea you want to carry forward and remember. One of the funny things about events is it's so easy to assume that what everyone else picked up are the same things that you picked up, and often they're not. All right, take about another minute. Start winding down. All right. All right, let's move on. So, the next step is picking your pieces. And by that, I mean which key part of your business model is missing. In the first session, shared a story about one of my coaching clients. His name is Isaac, and he quadrupled his monthly recurring revenue when he put together a complete business model and all those pieces started working together. And I'm not going to take the time now to explain all of these pieces again. I did point out that believing that something is possible is a big part of attempting to do it. And if you have a pretty pessimistic outlook about freelancing, about the world, about your business, about your capabilities, it's actually really hard to then go take actions and make decisions that align with a much more optimistic outlook. So that's why I include belief in the complete business model. This is very important. You will make decisions and take actions that align with your belief. So I'm going to set a timer again. I'll come back to this slide, but I think about each of these pieces almost as a lever, a force multiplier. If you've got the piece in place, then it's working with you. It makes you more powerful. So again, I'll set the timer for 10 minutes, and I want you to think about each of these pieces. Which of them is working with you right now and serving you? Which ones are missing or just not optimized? So here we go. By the way, we're not going to take 10 minutes for every step. First couple of steps just require a bit more time and reflection. It will start to move faster. We have about 4 minutes left. About 2 minutes left. All right. Let's keep moving. Okay. So I've already beaten this horse dead. Pick three priorities. And I want you all to know from the bottom of my heart that I am the worst at this. Y'all, I've been planning this summit for months. And what did my wife and I decide to do? We decided to get our family's first puppy. It is hard to stay focused for me. And yet, when I look back at times in my life, when I look back at situations in my business where I just wasn't growing, the culprit was overcommitment. And let me flash my arrogance right now, but I've seen people that were less talented grow faster because they were more focused. Maybe that's arrogant for me to say. I still think it's true. Maybe some of you can relate. So ask yourself these questions. What's the one thing that, if I were to do it, would make everything else easier or unnecessary? What is most important right now? What is the lead domino? What comes after that lead domino? So I think this one's 5 minutes. When you just write stuff out, you're probably going to write out more than three things. I would encourage you to give yourself permission to just write more than three at first, and then go back and ask yourself these questions. Is it really top three? Is it really going to matter in 6 months? And am I applying the principle of growth by subtraction, or am I mistakenly thinking that more is more? That the real principle is growth by addition. I just don't believe that anymore. Maybe you disagree. I don't believe growth by addition is the way for solopreneurs, freelancers, consultants. Finally, does it require someone else's permission? So take 5 minutes, look at all the things that you could do, and be ruthless. Trim the list to three priorities. I'll go back here. All right, like I said, 5 minutes on this one. It's a little bit shorter. I'm going to get going. Been doing a little bit of journaling myself right now. Just found out that one of the freelance cake community members, she just closed her biggest ever project. Multiple five figures. That is incredible. Excuse me. About one more minute. Hear those questions again. All right. We're making progress, y'all. All right. So this one will probably be the easiest for you. I mean, we all know how to do stuff. I think the thing that may be counterintuitive is knowing that you don't need a comprehensive plan to get started. Um, in my experience, comprehensive is just another way for me to rationalize perfectionism. I tell myself, well, let me have a complete plan. And how many times have I wasted time, and I will say wasted time trying to put together a more complete plan. And then, like 2 days or a week into implementing that plan, something happens that changes the whole plan, meaning I need to do something differently. And so what was the point of that complete plan if any one thing could change the plan, right? It's like now that we have a dog, having this complete plan to get to Nashville, and then you throw a dog into the mix and you're like, oh, well, we can't use the original plan because we have to stop to let the dog pee. So maybe that's a terrible analogy, but you get what I'm saying. You really only need to know a handful of steps for each of your priorities in order to get started. And when you finish the first 5 steps, you can then say, okay, what are the next 5? And you'll have enough clarity around those. And then the next 5. So if you think just in batches of 5s, well, take 5 minutes, ask yourself these questions, and then we'll start to finish up here. We're doing good on time. All right, about another minute. 5 steps for each priority. And if you're willing, please drop one of your priorities in the chat. Tell us what it is. Tell us what it is. I need to finish my welcome/positioning deck for my strategy work. I need to make it possible for me to have the right positioning when someone makes an introduction or when I connect with someone through LinkedIn DMs or someone emails me. Can I send over a single PDF that enables people to learn who I am, what I have to offer, typical outcomes for my clients, what an engagement looks like, that sort of thing. So that's one of mine. Priorities. I had to shove it aside to finish the summit. Okay, I already kind of talked through this. Just remember that a step is 60 minutes or less, small enough to schedule. And we're going to do that scheduling here in a moment. Also represents meaningful progress. Step doesn't mean that you finish anything. It may just mean you do more of something, chip away at something. Okay, so now I would like for you to do something kind of funny. You know, you've planned your work. Now you need to work your plan. So when are you going to do that? I like to theme my days. I talked about that earlier today. I like to theme my days, meaning Mondays, I call them future money or money Mondays. Um, Mondays are the days when I just give myself permission to work more on my business rather than in my business. So if I have something in my growth roadmap that I need to do, one or two tasks, I have a specific day where I know in advance, oh, I can do those on Mondays. So what about you? Do you need to theme your days? Do you need to have a day where you schedule no meetings at all so you can do more deep work? I do that on Wednesdays. So Wednesday's theme is deep work. But the point with making a habit out of business development is, as with any habit, you have to make the habit you want easier and you have to make the habit you don't want harder. So if you want to make growth habitual, you have to schedule it, make it easier for yourself, make it harder to fail than to succeed. So go ahead, take out your calendar or your planner, open your calendar, and take a look at your growth roadmap. You should have 10 to 15 tasks in it now. I'm going to go ahead and start the timer. Timer is started. So just open your calendar and look for those blocks and just go ahead and schedule your growth. And once you have put at least one block in your calendar, I want you to hop into the chat and I want you to just type done. Let everybody know you did it. All right, about 2.5 minutes left. Be sure and write done in the chat. About 1 minute left. All right. Let's keep going. Almost finished. So this is the last thing that I think is really important. I don't have time today to go into all the research, but I'll summarize it for you. It wouldn't surprise me if many of you are highly motivated, meaning you are self-starters, you'll take initiative. That's why a lot of us become freelancers in the first places. We're actually good at getting the work done. That being said, I think it's more challenging to really grow and thrive as a freelancer, consultant, or agency founder if most of your friends and the people you spend the most time with don't really understand what you face as a self-employed individual, as a solopreneur. There is this term I stumbled across, it's positive spillover. And the idea is like if you put it within a college context, higher education context, if you have a roommate that parties all the time, you're more likely to party all the time. If you have a roommate who is studious, you're more likely to be very studious. This is true of us for solopreneurs as well. If you surround yourself with people who constantly make their own business development a priority, who are out there taking calculated risks, who perform experiments, measure the results, have that iterative, sorry, my tongue's not working, iterative approach to their various business experiments, who generally stay optimistic, have a positive outlook, have that empowering belief that the best is yet to come, as opposed to the limiting belief that the best is already behind them. If you surround yourself with people like that, there is positive spillover. You've heard various people talk about how you are the company you keep, or look at your five, look at the five people you spend the most time with, and you'll see who you will become. Right? There is truth in that. There's so much research on this, and everything from athletics to health to work and productivity. Already mentioned academics. Who we surround ourselves with and the environment we put ourselves in is as impactful or consequential as any plan you have. So if you surround yourself with highly motivated people, you are playing on easy mode. And if you try to do it on your own in isolation, you are playing on hard mode. So I would encourage you, and it doesn't have to be my community, but I would encourage you, if you want extraordinary results this year, to join a community and harness that positive spillover effect for yourself. So I'll let that stand. I do want to invite you to apply to the Freelance Cake community. Those pitches. So I'm just going to
Hey,
offer an
Austin, you cut out on us there for just about 15 seconds or so.
Oh, did I cut out?
Maybe 10 seconds, yeah.
Oh, great. Great. Here, let me see if my AirPods work again. That's not going to be any good. Can you hear me again now?
Yep, you're fine.
Oh, super. Okay, well, at least I'm back. But yeah, let me tell you all a little bit about the community, and then we'll get into the closing call. So I used to take for granted that people knew what a community was and how mine operated. I've realized now that that was a mistake. So hope I'm not insulting anyone's intelligence by telling you about it. Um, it's a small community, it's private, it's paid. It's not just a place where people have um, warm, fuzzy conversations. We have what I call high quality conversations, which just cover the whole spectrum of what we experience as self-employed individuals, solopreneurs, freelancers. I do think about it more as a business laboratory. I'm constantly encouraging members to perform experiments and report back on their results. Also, it's just an incredible place to get good advice quickly. I mentioned earlier that one of our members just sold her biggest ever project. that was after we kind of workshopped her prices together. So she raised her price by 50% and got a yes immediately when we're trying to grow and make those gains in our businesses. I've found it really helps to have other people that you can treat as thought partners. Hey, what am I missing? Right? So, fast feedback and advice, high quality conversations. We do a fair number of live workshops, often very topical. Dustin Reichman, who was one of the speakers at the summit, he has also done a guest expert session very similar to the talk that he gave. So a lot of our guest experts are just helping members learn about and do something really specific. We do group coaching that takes different forms. Sometimes it's hot seat sessions, sometimes it's more like open discussion. I will answer questions rapid fire, sort of as the resident coach. Obviously, a lot of other members have great perspective too. They will chime in. And then we just wrapped up our first in-person mastermind in April. So in-person events have become a thing we do too. We do monthly challenges. Normally they take 1 or 2 hours of your time. We've done everything from like a rejection. That is so dumb. I think my the problem is my phone keeps on trying to interrupt me. Oh well. Um, why is it happening? I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully you can hear me again. And let me just advance the slide. Okay. So we have group coaching. That's just where I answer specific questions. And we have a private forum. It's in Circle. It's important that it not be on Facebook because I personally find Facebook to be super distracting. I'm not on there a whole lot. And I think Circle just has better functionality, frankly. It's also where you RSVP for all the events. And if you have been inside of the uh, Summit community, then you're already familiar with Circle. Resource library. As awesome as it is, I encourage new members to hold off diving in until they create a roadmap to help them filter and only find the resources that are going to be very helpful in implementing the roadmap. But the resource library is amazing. I have put thousands of hours into the resources that you will find there. And I know that they save members tons of time. They've also made members tens of thousands of dollars. Monthly challenges I kind of mentioned, they're purely voluntary. I know a lot of you are pretty busy. I know some of you need to be pushed out of your comfort zone. So we've tried to make these manageable. We've tried to keep them fun. And yeah, a lot of members are like, I just never would have finished my strategy offer. I just never would have reached out to that dream client. I just never would have launched my website, whatever. So monthly challenges are a really good way to light your tail on fire in good company. We do weekly co-working sessions. It's nice to see each other and work together, but also stay very focused on implementing our roadmaps. And then this is the real goal. I don't think the real goal is ever just to like do work, stay in motion. I think the real goal is to have a breakthrough and to build a business that you don't need a vacation from. For a lot of us, that means selling bigger projects or raising our prices. We need to do very specific things in order for our businesses to serve us and not the other way around. So that's a really big piece of what we do inside the community. I have a summit only offer for those of you who are interested in positive spillover. You're interested in surrounding yourself with an incredible group of people who are on a similar journey. So for the next, I think it's 7 days, the offer is $495 for 6 months. So you get a month for free. There are also a couple of bonuses. I'm putting together a brand new lead gen workshop. This has come up again and again and again where people are like, the things that I used to do aren't working as well anymore. What's working right now? So in that lead gen workshop, I want to help everyone put together like a lead gen plan. And that will also include what I call a daily apple. I won't go into that here, but when you get busy, it's really helpful to know exactly what you're going to do like within 30 minutes each day to keep leads flowing through your pipeline. There's also going to be a special group onboarding and ask me anything call. So if you don't currently have a great group of people who are cheering you on, I think you need it. I know I need it. Doesn't have to be my community, but I think, or I know this community is awesome. So it's up to you. I hope you'll apply. You can apply here. There's also a full page with all the details at freelancecake.com/community. So keep your momentum going. And that is it. I'm going to shift gears now. If some of you can stick around for the closing call, that would be awesome. Trying to think. I don't know if I'm trying to remember if the closing call is actually a separate event. There have been so many sessions. No, I think it's this one. Okay, I'm just going to head straight into it. And if any of you need to bounce, yeah, Alyssa, give Mark Zucks the bucks with Facebook. Not. Okay, let me wrap us up with closing remarks, which will be pretty short and sweet. So I can't believe this is it. Months of planning go into these summits, as you would probably guess. And it's always kind of strange to arrive at like the final 15 minutes, 10 minutes. But I want you to know it is so fulfilling for me to see your engagement, to see your reflections, to see the momentum that you've built over 4 days. As cheesy as it sounds, it's really important to me to participate in other people's transformation. That's why I was put here on earth. That's my purpose. It's one of the reasons why I put on events like this, is because it's just such a joy for me to watch other people grow in real time, to watch you change your minds in real time. That being said, I try at events like this to mix inspiration and application. So I hope that you did get inspired, pick up some ideas, put together your one-page growth roadmap. I do want to thank some people. You all, if you execute on your roadmaps, will start growing faster. If you start applying growth by subtraction, you will grow faster. It's really easy to forget that what you just experienced was made possible by my assistant, Bern. Bern, you are amazing. Thank you for all of your tireless work behind the scenes. I get a lot of the credit, the speakers get a lot of the credit, and yet none of this would have happened without you. So thank you. You deserve a break, and I know you will take a break. Also, this summit would not have been possible without our sponsors. Collective is our presenting sponsor. Collective is complete sort of back office support, all the financial stuff. Their customers save on average $10,000 a year on their taxes. So if you haven't already, I would encourage you to check out Collective, and I'll make sure that link makes it out to everybody. There's a link where you can set up an intro call with them and ask questions about your specific situation. And I would encourage you to do that because Marissa is incredible at just translating tax density into something we can all understand. Also, I want to thank Online Jobs PH, .ph, I should say. That is the marketplace for online Filipino specialists that I used to connect with Bern back in 2022. So she's been with me over 4 years now. And I'm a big fan of that platform. I used onlinejobs.ph to hire my video editor, my bookkeeper, my designer, other folks along the way. So you may have listened to John Jonas's session on hiring a VA confidently. It's a really good listen. Check it out. Thank you, John. Thank you, onlinejobs.ph. Thank you, Nick and Marissa at Collective. Your support has made it possible for over 2,200 freelancers to grow their businesses this year. So I truly hope that you reap 10 times what you have sown into this event. Finally, I have to thank our speakers. They are amazing. I looked at the speaker lineup after it finally came together and I was like, how did I trick all these people into being a part of this? Well, I hope I didn't trick them, but I was so pleased at all of the sessions, all the speakers. They're incredible. So they deserve a hand. And then if you are so inclined, I would love for you to drop into the chat what your favorite session was. What was your favorite session? It's okay to play favorites. What was your favorite session? Okay. Moving on, you are probably eager to start implementing your growth roadmaps. So I will keep this short. Maybe wondering what happens next. Like at the end of a summit, what do? Well, go finish your one-page growth roadmap if you didn't do it in that closing session. If you're listening to this later and you did not finish your one-page growth roadmap, well, I'll make sure the replay shows up in your inbox. I would suggest that you finish this summit strong by finishing that roadmap. Secondly, schedule your growth. It's something we did during the session. So treat your business as your best client. Make it easier to succeed than fail at this. Thirdly, find your people. Let's positive spillover do its work by putting yourself in the right environment with people who are extraordinary in their pursuit of growth. Also, I extended an invitation to apply for membership in the Freelance Cake community. I'm not going to rehash all that, but I'll send out more info about that. It is my favorite place on the internet, and it's just wonderful to build a business with friends instead of doing it in isolation. All right, what are the final loose ends? Yeah, if you chose to upgrade to the All Access Pass, be sure and take full advantage before like the glow of the summit fades and you just move on to the next thing. Go download all of the speaker bonuses that interest you. That way you'll have them when you need them. Enter all the giveaways that interest you. People, we're talking about free stuff here, and some of those giveaways are going to give you even more momentum when it comes to implementing your one-page growth roadmap. 3, I would encourage you to go connect with the speakers online. Follow them on LinkedIn. Send them a DM. Let them know they made a difference in your lives. They are people too. They were incredibly generous in sharing their expertise. Go say thank you. I promise it will mean a lot to them. And then if you haven't upgraded to the all access pass, um, I'll drop that link into the chat. I think it's a bargain, and you're going to be able to listen to all the sessions later. And there really are some good bonuses too. Try not to push that too hard ever. But I think it's a bargain. And let's see if that works. Cool. Moving on. Scholarship. Some of you have already applied, which is awesome. The deadline for applying is today at 5 p.m. Eastern time, so roughly 2.5 hours from now. I'm going to give my full attention to those applications sometime after that. I will announce the winner in tomorrow's summit wrap-up email, and I'll go ahead and drop that link into the chat so you have it if you do want to apply for the scholarship, which includes an all-access pass to Advanced Freelancers Summit, 6 months for free inside the community. Ordinarily, that costs $594, unless you count this special summit only offer, which is $495. So we'll say it's worth $495 right now. And then I'm also going to do a one-on-one strategy session with you, with the person who wins the scholarship. So you will see a post-summit survey. I know this week has been amazing. I'd also like to hear what you want more of and what you want less of, and any insights you're willing to share. Will I do another summit? I do not know. Now is not the time to ask. If you ask me right now, I'm like, no, I'm tired of summits. This is a lot of work. Ask me in a month or two, and you may get a more accurate answer. But I do want to hear from you. We're always looking to improve. I'm sure there are things that we could have done better, and I also tend to be pretty hard on myself. So I'm sure there are things that we've done well that I'm not currently focused on. We will celebrate again tomorrow in that wrap-up email with the final bingo prizes. They include a full one-on-one coaching session with me, which I ordinarily charge $575 for. Another person will win a one-on-one coaching session with Corey Wilkes, who is awesome and loves profanity. As he said earlier, he is hilarious and so insightful and smart and approachable. Just so grateful to him. But yes, one-on-one private coaching session with him to identify and remove some of the psychological bottlenecks that are currently costing you growth. And that is it. I had so much fun hosting this. I hope you've loved the summit as much as I have. Even if I want a break, I still love the summit. And then I hope you implement your roadmap. I hope you don't let the glow fade. I hope you build momentum. I hope you keep showing up for yourself, for your business, for your goals. I hope to see some of you in the Freelance Cake community. That's what's always bittersweet, as I start to get to know some of you a little bit, start to cheer you on, and then it's like, all right, see you. But yeah, I hope some of you will join the community. And then that's the end of the official call. Then let me see these questions. How long is the summit only offer for joining the Freelance Cake community valid? I think it ends around midnight next Thursday. So it's about a week. And I'll send emails with info on that. And then, yeah, that's it. Appreciate you all. Can't believe we're done. Keep your eye out for the follow-up emails. Have a great Thursday. See ya.